Hey everyone. I'm in a predicament, not in a bad way, but I want to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on this because I'm kind of torn on it myself. So you guys know that I was selling this Epiphone. I'm gonna put my hand on here so you don't see location and stuff, but this Epiphone here, you guys remember that? Well, I put it up on Marketplace. I had it up for $200. It's a Korean-made Epiphone. It's actually worth something. And I said, what you see is what it is. Needs some pickups, okay? And I had a picture that I just showed you guys, and I had this picture on the back of the Made in Korea with the model number, because you can search the model number. And I just had those two pictures. This guy hits me up. He's really interested in it. He lives about an hour and a half south of me in the big cities. And we had a little bit of scheduling issues because he owns this record shop. And his record shop doesn't close till 7. But by the time he'd get up here, I'd be like needing to go to bed because I get up at 4:20 in the morning. And it just... whatever. So finally on Wednesday, he says, oh, I got a dentist appointment. I'd like to come up there and meet. Okay, that's fine. I give him my address. He says I should be leaving the dentist at 5 and be there by 6. That's fine. That's an okay time. I'm still awake. So then I send him this message here. And I said, I thought I would send you some more pictures. It's a far drive, and I would hate for you to waste your time if you didn't like it. But what you see is what I have, LOL. And I sent him these pictures. Okay, so the front of it, again. The back of it. Kind of showing the neck. The reason I tried to just send him more pictures because it's a far drive and I wouldn't want the dude to be disappointed. This picture I thought was important because it was like this when I had bought it, but it had been, I think, dropped on this corner, so it's just a little beat up here. But I mean, I was trying to send him, here's the top side of it. I was trying to send, that's all of them that I sent him. I was just trying to send him some more because he didn't ask for more pictures, and I thought, well, I'd hate for him to drive this far and not be happy, so I thought I'm just going to send him a bunch of pictures, that way nothing happens. Okay? So he drives up here, he's about 20 minutes late, which was whatever. But that's one of my pet peeves. I get annoyed when people get late, but I was like, he was about 20 minutes late. I was just about to message him and say, hey, you still gonna make it? And when I walked out, he was hanging out in his car in the driveway for like another 5 minutes. He comes in the house, so it's like well lit, right? He comes in the house, looks at the guitar, flips it over, says, oh yeah, I seen in the pictures that the back panel was missing. It's going to cost me a little bit to fix that up. It'll be about $10. And we had already negotiated down to $150. I was asking $200. But bodies are expensive on guitars. And he's like, would you do like $10 off still? I was sure, right? Like, I'm just looking to kind of get rid of it. But he came in, he physically looked at it. Then he goes on this like 5-10 minute spiel. Oh yeah, I own this shop down in the cities. If you're ever down there, come check us out. Here's a business card. Do you play guitar? Yes, I play guitar. I had another guitar sitting on the couch, so I don't know how he didn't pick that up, but he says, do you play guitar? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, well, here's some picks, and they're picks, and they have his logo here in the back, which I'm not trying to like front the guy or whatever, so whatever. Goes on that whole spiel. Says, all right, hands me the money. When he hands me the money, it's a $100 bill and 2 20s, which is pretty easy to count when they're spread. And I take it and, oh, thanks, count the money. I can count it in your hand. Whatever. Just an interesting character. I mean, I creeped on his Facebook. He's in a Kiss cover band. And His nails were painted and leather jacket. I mean, he's fitting the bill of some rock star. So he leaves, and everything was fine. Well, the next day, he hits me up, and he says, just turn you guys around, hopefully you can see that. He says, Zach, buyer beware, the thing is only an Epiphone neck with parts from many others. It's on me for not checking closer due to weather. Happy holidays. And I was like, Epiphone neck. So I was honestly like, well, how can you tell that the body is not an Epiphone? And that's what I really wanted to know. I said, I never knew. I bought this thing from a pawn shop, not a pawn shop, a music shop, but it was used, which I tell him that in a minute here. But I said, how can you tell if the body is not an Epiphone? I said, it's not my intention to make a bad deal. We can meet up and swap it back if you'd like. And he says, well, the neck doesn't even sit right on the body cavity and the neck plate is off. It's an Epiphone neck, but some other body. And he says, I'm not even sure if this thing will play good once I install pickups. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of, I had this thing strung up. It was one of my favorite playing guitars, but it was time for it to go. I don't have a case for it, yada yada. So I tell him, like, I had it strung up, it played great, it was a great sounding guitar, and then I was like, I'm still trying to pick, like, how do you know it's not an Epiphone all the way through? I figured maybe he knew more about it, so I'm just trying to pick his brain or whatever. And I told him I bought it at Mr. Mark's Music Shop in Anoka 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. I was just a kid. And all these pictures, he's trying to show me that the neck is like ever so off on here, which, if we rewind here to the pictures that I sent him, okay, like when this thing was dropped, I'm sure that maybe it fell the whole way and it might have bumped the neck, but like it still played just fine for me. And I said, maybe when I was repainting, they took the neck off, it just didn't sit right in there. He says, but it would still line up. So then what he wants me to do, this is where things get kind of weird, is he says that he'd be willing, this is the deal he wants. I send him $100 back, and he keeps the $40 and hangs it on the wall. And I'm like, no, because this is where the scammer part of me is like, no, because you're going to fix it anyways, and it's going to play just fine, and you're going to get this guitar for $40. And then now he's like fine-tooth combing this thing, which, like in the ad, I said, like, this is what it is, and, the pictures are pretty obvious that this is an older guitar. So here, he said that the nut was broken, which he's not wrong. It is broken here, and I literally took the strings off of this thing, and like I got them laying on the floor, other than two strings which were kind of jammed up in the base plate. So the strings were on it, so I don't know when this happened, but at this point I don't care. And what I want you guys to notice is in the background here, this is all stuff from his shop. Remember, he owns a store. A couple screws missing here, which you can take these screws out and it actually makes the vibrato bar bend easier. So that's kind of a common thing, but we're talking two tiny little screws. And then in the back cavity, this is a wood screw, this is a standard screw. These like to strip out. I think I replaced this screw, honestly, with a wood screw, but apparently that's an issue as well. Not the different colored spring, but the screw, which, that's all internals, and that doesn't affect the playability of it at all. And he says, well, here's the situation. It's not an Epiphone guitar. It's just parts pieced together. And at this point, I'm thinking, no, it's an Epiphone guitar. He has no basis off of the fact that it's not. I said, I could have sent you all these pictures of all this stuff if you requested it. You're physically here to look at it. That's because I'm getting kind of frustrated at this point, because he's just bombarding me with pictures of what's wrong with it. He's literally in my lit house. It wasn't like a dark alley deal. In great condition, it's worth $250 to $300. I don't know if that is true. We'll just do Epiphone Explorer from the 80s. Maybe we can do some shopping. Yeah. This one's $446 on eBay. And if we compare them maybe to new ones, they're about $650. This is a kit for $228. You know, just want to pick the dude's brain here. It's going to cost me $150 to see if it works. That's not true. It just needs a nut, 2 screws, and the little back plates, which that might be maybe $50. And you might say, well, he's going to have to bring it in for this, but no, he fixes them at home. He tells me this. So I told him, I said, it sounds like you want to resell it in your shop, and now you don't want to because you're not happy with the price point on a resell. I want to make it right, but how could you not even notice it? I even said, is what you see is what I have. He says, I own a record store. I'm not able to sell guitars. I was going to put pickups in it for my son. I did see it was in rough shape, but not mismatched parts until I started looking into repairing it this morning. But he says, see right here, he says, but I do fix guitars at my house. But my question is, if he fixes them at his house, then why is this sitting at his record store on the table? I mean, maybe he brought it, maybe he's going to work on it at the place. I'm not trying to make an assumption, but there's just a couple things here that are not lining up. Like, so then he says, if I drive all the way down there, he's going to give me I'm going to give him his money back. He's going to give me this guitar. And then he's going to give me 2 Epiphone pickups. This is just a little nut for a strap and that. But like, he says it's about $45 worth of parts. His number's on there, so I'm not trying to blast the guy, okay? But the things about the story that really aren't adding up for me is, I mean, it's just like, the stuff is just not quite adding up for me because I told him, I said, well, I don't know when I'm going to be down that way. Because you know what, he was here. It's not like this thing came with a warranty or whatever. So I'm torn, right? Because if this dude is actually a genuine guy, he wanted to buy a guitar for his son that he was going to fix up, like, but he knew it needed pickups, which is the biggest expense on that, and a little, like a guitar nut, like he says he fixes them at home, so, like, here's one from Sweetwater, which is like a well-known music shop, I mean, that's pretty close to actually the same one. It's $12.77. Okay, so it needs that and a couple plastic. So he already has the pickups, and it just needs the 2 back plastic panels and a guitar nut. So we're talking maybe $50. But he's saying it's going to cost 3 times that to get to work, but it's not like he's having a professional work on it. He's going to do it himself. So I'm torn on what to do. And really my torn part is, like, I wasn't trying to do this guy a dirty deal by any means. That's why I sent him those pictures, because I was surprised he didn't want more pictures. I have been burned before driving far distances to look at stuff, and it is not what I expected. And I would have been very happy if the individual that did that to me, might have happened more than once, had sent me more pictures. And I've actually been in the situation where I asked for a bunch of pictures and they denied me the pictures, and I told them, I said, look, it's a 3-hour drive for me and I don't want to waste my time and your time. I need these pictures. And when they still denied it, they're just like, well, why don't you just show up? I said, deal's over. And then they're like, oh, I can send pictures. It's like, no, deal's done. Like, I don't trust you. But I tried to be a trustworthy person, and what you see is what I have. And, you know, I didn't see that the nut was broken. A wood screw in the back that's covered, that's nothing that's gonna, like, that guitar is 100% playable the way that is. So the vibe that I'm getting, I mean, he claims he doesn't sell guitars, but the vibe I'm getting is maybe he was gonna sell this guitar and he's not happy with that. and like he could probably reset that neck pretty easily. So anyways, I'm gonna put it out there, get your guys' thoughts. I don't like when this stuff happens. It's just very frustrating when they come into your house. He was here, and if he would have spent more time looking at it than trying to pitch me his business, that's an hour and a half away that I'm never going to visit, he might have seen some of these things. I mean, he said, I seen it was in rough shape. Well, now you're trying to bend me over a barrel for 2 nuts, a screw, and a guitar nut for the headstock. Yeah. So maybe I should have just never responded to him, but I was just, I'm trying to be nice. What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Alright. Thanks, guys.